Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's-A-Mii here, and today we're doing another Nintendo Switch 2 and PS5 physical news update video. We had quite a few developments over the Summer Games Fest weekend, including information on Sonic Racing Crossworlds and a Switch 2 edition of that. It looks like it will not be a game key card, and there is a big ol' limited run games special edition for it. We'll take a look at that. Final Fantasy Tactics was announced at the State of Play last week, and seemingly, at least in Japan, it looks like Square Enix might be doing a code and box release, so we're going to take a look at that as well as the special edition for the PlayStation and Switch 1 versions. We also had a few other Switch games announced with physicals, specifically one from Bandai Namco that I really wanted to highlight. Just a smaller release from them coming out in September called Toa and the Guardians, something or other. Thought this game looked neat, we'll talk about that. And then finally, for the PlayStation 5 collectors out there, I'm not forgetting you, we are getting some very interesting physical versions from Xbox on PlayStation, including Gears of War Reloaded, which I was really happy to see because when they announced that remaster, I was like, oh no, this is totally going to be a digital-only release. Well, thankfully, it actually is getting a physical copy this August. So that's what we're getting into today. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy Nintendo Switch 2 collecting, but also a side of PlayStation collecting as well, I would appreciate you liking the video and subscribing. Let's get into it. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the channel. I hope your day is going well. Didn't upload yesterday. I decided to take a break after all the Switch 2 madness over the weekend. But the first thing I'm going to cover is Sonic Racing Crossworlds. So during the Jeff Keighley Summer Games Fest event, they announced that this game would be coming to Switch 2 as a Switch 2 edition. And in the trailer for it, when they posted it on the Sonic or Sega YouTube channel, you can actually see, at least in the mock-up image here, that it is a Nintendo Switch 2 edition. We can tell that because of all of the text on the bottom. That text is indicating it is a Switch 2 edition release. This is very important because so far we've only had one Switch 2 edition code and box release, and that was for Civilization 7. Which means this is more than likely going to be a Switch 2 physical game that you can actually go to the store and buy, and it's not a game keycard. The data, at least for the Switch 1 version, will be on there. You might have to download the Switch 2 patch, but the Switch 2 version of this game should be on the cartridge, assuming it's not just a placeholder. I would hope that Sega is smart enough to know that to specifically put that as the placeholder, and then for it to end up being a game keycard or a code and box, would certainly drive up some controversy. I think it is safe to assume that this will be a proper Switch 2 edition release where the data for most of the game anyway is on the cartridge and not a game keycard, which is really exciting. I know it's very important for a lot of people. What I do find interesting here is that this game is releasing on September 25th. However, they said the Switch 2 edition will be coming out later. But then you have this image here right at the end of the trailer that says releasing September 25th, and right there is the Switch 2 box. So I almost wonder if they might be doing something a little different here where on September 25th, what if we get the Switch 2 edition of the game, and you can go to the store and buy that version of it, but then you can't download the Switch 2 edition until it comes out later? I wonder if that could end up happening here. We will have to wait and see. I think this game actually looks really good. As someone who, frankly, does not like Sonic very much at all, I do think this game looks really high quality, especially now that you have all these crazy crossover characters. You got my boy Ichiban in there, waiting on Kiryu and Majima, but also like Joker from Persona, Hatsune Miku. There's rumors about like SpongeBob and the Ninja Turtles being thrown in there. Sure, why not? It looks like a pretty fun time. And they also announced a special edition through Limited Run Games. If you are interested in a gigantic Sonic special edition, we'll take a look at that now. So retailing for $249.99. Those tariffs, man, I imagine it'd probably be pretty similar without that, maybe $200 without the tariffs. But we have Sonic Racing Crossworlds Collector's Edition on Switch, PS5, PS4, and Xbox, so no Switch 2 version for this, which is interesting, and this includes a lot of cool stuff. So you're getting, of course, the pre-order Werehog DLC in there. If you're a big Sonic Unleashed fan, you'll have that in there. A 24 foil trading card set. You get the full set in here, it looks like. You get the Certificates of Authenticity license card with Sonic's license on there. Of course, you get that big outer box, a steelbook, be that Blu-ray size or Switch size, depending on which one you decide to go for. A hardcover art book, it looks like, with a ton of different art of the cars, which is actually pretty cool. You have a Sonic Racing Crossworlds comic with an exclusive cover, a 2-disc CD soundtrack, as well as a King Boom Boo keychain, a stick-on chrome car emblem for your actual car, as well as this. I like this a lot. This is not worth $250, but I do like the Sonic rear view mirror dangler, so you can put it in your rear view mirror. That's pretty cute. And then the big thing you get is the Sonic and Shadow Racing statue. They say artwork in 3D renders subject to change. So I don't know, man. That's a lot of money for this. However, there are some cool items in here. What I do find odd is there's this Sonic and Shadow statue where they're in their cars. I mean, that looks cool, but it looks like it's all one piece. I think it'd be preferable if these were two separate displays where you have a Sonic one and then also a Shadow one. But this, it looks like it's all on one big display piece, which is a little weird, but not for me. However, it is available for pre-order right now from June 6th through July 6th on Limited Run Games website, once again for Switch, PS5, PS4, and Xbox. Interestingly, the PC Special Edition is $50 cheaper. I don't know why that is, because it looks like, it looks like it comes with the game. Obviously, it's a digital code, which, you know, some people would argue that certainly devalues it a little bit. But if you want to get it on PC, I mean, you could get it there and pay $50 less than that, and then you don't have to wait on limited run shipping times. And worth noting, if you do buy this, they say estimated ship date is March 21st through the 31st, 2026. I'm trying to see if they're going to ship the rest of the game, like the game itself, separately. In fact, I don't see that, so I'm going to go to the pre-order screen and see if that pops up. Okay, yeah, so if you go to your cart, it says that Sonic Racing Crossworlds, which they value at $50, which is interesting because that game is, I think it's 60 on Switch and then 70 on everything else. That'll ship September 22nd through the 30th, and then you'll get these special edition contents, hopefully in March. We'll see if that ends up slipping, but yeah, not for me, but wanted to highlight it. There is a big ol' special edition for Sonic Racing Crossworlds, and hopefully, fingers crossed, a Switch 2 edition of this game that is actually on the cartridge, or at least the Switch 1 version on the Switch 2 edition cartridge. It gets confusing, but it looks like we might be getting something that isn't a game key card, which is nice. Okay, next up we need to talk about Final Fantasy Tactics. So this was announced at the State of Play the other day, retailing for $50 here. I'm on Square Enix's Japanese website, and I'm very excited for it. I've never played Final Fantasy Tactics. I've always heard it's like one of the best tactics games of all time, has an incredible job system, all that. Very excited for this remaster, though I'll probably be using the standard graphics. I don't like the whole smoothing filter they have going on. However, on the Japanese website, the only place where you can actually pre-order the Switch 2 version of this game so far, it is a code in box release. I have no idea what's going on anymore. Like, I really don't understand, because you look at Square Enix, you see Bravely Default, that's a game key card. We have Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD, that's a game key card. But then this is a code in box. Why is that? Like, I just want to know, like, what is the difference between these games? Or even like with EA and Split Fiction. Split Fiction is a code in box, but the new Madden coming out in August, that's going to be a game key card. I'm just trying to figure out, like, why are certain games from the same publishers being treated differently? Is it a manufacturing issue based on when the games are releasing? I just don't know, but according to this, at least in Japan, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, will be a Switch 2 code in box. However, there is a great silver lining here. With a lot of Switch 2 versions so far, the upgrade has either been paid for like a small fee of like $10 or something, or frankly non-existent in the case of like Sonic Shadow Generations. You can't pay to upgrade that game. Same thing with like Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S. However, Square Enix is offering a free upgrade for this game, meaning you can buy the Switch 1 version and get the Switch 2 edition for free, not even having to pay an upgrade fee. So for the physical collectors out there, I think most of us, if this ends up being the case in North America and Europe, we will be buying the Switch 1 version and upgrading to the Switch 2 edition. I just really don't understand, like, why there's such a discrepancy with different versions and why some things from the same publisher would be a game key card and then some would be a code in box. It seems so odd to me, but luckily there is a Switch 1 version, and luckily that will contain the data on the cartridge, and then you can update to the Switch 2 version for free. They've already confirmed a free update. Also want to shout out, this game is available physically on PS5 as well as PS4. Weird we're still getting PS4 games so late into the generation. I mean, that console is, what, 12 years old? 12 years old now? Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, this is getting a release on basically everything physically, which is nice to see. There is also this Amazon special edition here in America, at least for the Switch 1 and PS5 versions. I'm going to put affiliate links to this down below if you want to pre-order there and support the channel. I would really appreciate it. Same thing with everything else we're talking about in this video. But it says Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles Amazon exclusive edition. Same price, $50. But taking a look at this little pre-order image they have here, if you pre-order it through them, you get a double-sided poster. So frankly, there's just no reason not to get it at Amazon. Honestly, like if you're getting this game, just go ahead and get it at Amazon, and your physical copy will include a nice little double-sided poster. Very cool. And then final thing pertaining to Tactics that I wanted to discuss is the collector's box and game bundle. Now, unfortunately, this has sold out. However, I've seen it flicker on and off a couple of times. So if you're first hearing about it just now, you might be able to still end up getting it. In fact, yeah, okay, so even here it says unavailable. They have it available separately if you want to do that, but it is sold out right now. Hopefully it comes back in stock. This seems to be a pretty popular special edition from Square Enix. And I'll be honest, like I was thinking about it for a second, but then I was like, I've never even played Final Fantasy Tactics. I don't know if I will care that much, but it is certainly better than the Dragon Quest special editions that they've been doing over the past couple of games there. So this includes an art sheet as well as a Chocobo mini plush set. I love the Chocobo plush. That is what I'm here for, man. I love these Chocobo plush so much. You have the Zodiac Stones acrylic magnet sets. These don't look the highest quality. I mean, kind of gives me vibes of the Infinity Stones in that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite special edition from years back. We also have the pop-up arts outline church. See, this is a missed opportunity. This could have been a whole pop-up book. That would have been sick, but it looks like it's literally just this one page with the church. That's questionable. Perhaps most importantly here, we have the Ramza Beolv. I probably am saying that wrong. Ramza Beolv. Yeah, sure. Figure Academy version. That's like the main piece of this. And then, yeah, the special art box, which... shout out to Square Enix. Their art boxes that they do for these, but also like Final Fantasy 14 expansions. Those things look really nice on a shelf. But for $200 plus 50 for the game, of course, bit overpriced, but certainly a better value if we're going to go that route than the Dragon Quest ones we discussed in a news video a week or two ago. That Dragon Quest one is like insultingly bad. At least that's you're getting these cute plush and a statue and an art print. Would have been nice if there was a soundtrack in here or like an art book or something, but still not the worst thing I've ever seen, but still not great. Though it did sell out, so I mean the Final Fantasy Tactics fans are certainly showing up for this one. I did also, unfortunately, want to highlight this. Really bummed about it because this is a game that I totally would have bought on Switch 2 otherwise, but we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4. We had talked about this, I think, a month or so ago, but it was on some like weird sketchy website. It wasn't 100%. Well, we now know through Best Buy that this is going to be a code and box release. There is no card in here. There's no game key card. There's no complete cartridge. It is just a code and box release. I just don't really understand why they wouldn't do a game key card at the very least. I mean, how much does that really cost if it's like 1 gig of data? I don't know. Certainly, this is enough for me to not buy this version of the game. Now, frankly, I would have probably gotten it on PS5 to begin with. I don't know, though. Having Pro Skater on the go and on Switch 2 in handheld mode would have been nice, especially because I was trying to play Pro Skater 1 and 2 earlier this year on my PS Portal, and that game is very input-heavy, so it's not a great game to have any input delay on. So the Switch 2 version of this game would have been nice, but for $50 for a code and box, you know, I did the Split Fiction unboxing just to, like, see. I wanted to cover the launch day in depth for you all. I'm not doing this. This is where I personally draw the line of, like, I'm not going to keep buying code and box releases. In theory, you should be able to buy the Switch 1 version, and maybe there'll be an upgrade path, but even the Switch 1 version, I'm pretty sure, is going to require some sort of download. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how much it is, but even here it says download required, just like the first remaster on Switch. So, Activision, shame on you. Okay, real quick before we cover the PS5 games and talk about those, which I'm really excited about, I did want to highlight just a few physical releases that were announced in the past week or so. So first up, I saw a lot of people talking about this. We have the Corpse Party Tetralogy pack. I'm not too familiar with Corpse Party. However, it is developed by Mages, my beloved, developers of the Famicom Detective Club, but also they do Steins Gate. We have this new collection pack here that, according to Gamatsu, includes Corpse Party from 2021, Corpse Party Book of Shadows, Corpse Party Sweet Sachiko's Hysteric Birthday Bash, as well as Corpse Party Blood Drive, and that is releasing on August 7th physically, and I believe, yes, it's going to have English on the cartridge, so not too bad of a release from Mages. Certainly one to keep an eye out for if you are a fan of Corpse Party. However, more importantly for me, a game that I'm pretty excited about, during the Summer Games Fest events, Bandai Namco announced this weird new IP called Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree, and from what I can tell, it kind of was giving me like Hades vibes, like just a little bit of, you know, top-down isometric action game with a bit of weapon crafting and like maybe town building type stuff in there. Or at least like cozy elements to it. But this is a new IP from Bandai Namco, and it's releasing this September, so very short, you know, announcement to release cycle for this game. Looks pretty neat, and it's getting a physical, not through PlayAsia, you don't have to import it or anything. It's getting a proper physical release in America on Switch 1 for $30 in September. So I just wanted to highlight this one. I'm definitely going to check it out when it releases later this year because it is a cheaper release. It is getting a proper physical. It makes me wonder why Bandai Namco is not doing the same for Patapon, which I am more excited for, and is also in that same like $30 ballpark range here. So I don't know, it just feels kind of random to give this one like the you know, treatment, the full American release treatment, but it's certainly one that I'm excited to check out later this year, and we'll see if it hits. I mean, we have so many weird new IP from them. We have this one, we also have that Hirogami game that I think is only confirmed for PlayStation. That looked pretty neat. Hopefully that gets a physical as well on PS5, but yeah, just wanted to shout this one out. Thought it was pretty neat, and it's once again, it's very cheap for a physical copy of this weird new IP from them. Okay, and then the final thing I wanted to cover in today's video is not Switch related. Sorry for making you wait so long, PlayStation collectors, to the end of the video. But I wanted to cover just a couple of things that were announced over the weekend from Xbox Game Studios, starting with Gears of War Reloaded. Now, obviously, this is a huge deal, a pivotal moment for Xbox supports on PlayStation. We are getting the iconic Gears of War on PlayStation 5 in August, on August 26th, and that was announced a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago now, and I'm really excited for it. I haven't played Gears of War since I was very young on 360 with my brother, and I remember loving it, so excited to hop into this, try out the campaign, try out the multiplayer, 120 FPS support, all that stuff. However, I was kind of reserved to the idea that it was going to be digital only. Xbox has been trending so hard into that direction that I was just like, you know what? It's not going to be a physical copy. Maybe Limited Run will do it later down the line. Well, thankfully, we actually are getting a physical release for this game. What's odd is, it looks like it's just the Coalition publishing it themselves. Xbox Game Studios is not on the front of the box at the very least. I'm sure Xbox is involved in some way, but yeah, Coalition is doing their thing, and they're publishing a physical version of Gears of War Reloaded on PS5, and I could not be more happy about that. Now I can confidently just buy this game on release day and not have to worry about, oh, Limited Run's going to do a physical, a year or two from now. No, we're just getting a physical on the same day as it releases digitally, and that's really exciting to me. We also had a few other things from Xbox/PS5 here. So notably, Outer Worlds 2, they're charging $80 for this game, which is kind of funny, to be honest. Can't really speak on the quality of these games. I tried the first one for a little bit. It seemed fine enough from what I played, but yeah, they're charging $80 for this, and this one seems to be requiring an internet download of some kind, so maybe this will be similar to Doom, where you have to download basically the full game, a game key disc, if you will, but Gears of War does not have that on the box, so maybe it's placeholder, but Gears of War Reloaded, it looks like this might be like a real release, a real, proper, physical release from the Coalition, which is pretty exciting. There is also this $100 edition for Outer Worlds 2, not for me, but once again, just wanted to highlight that real quick. It is worth noting that Xbox has completely given up on their side of the camp. I couldn't find anything on Gears, although I think it might be a code in box, but certainly for Outer Worlds 2, that is the case, where the only option if you want a box for this game is the $100 premium edition, and even then, it is just a digital game code, which makes sense, the direction they're going with their new Xbox Ally handheld. Of course, Series S is digital only, but it is a little sad that, like, if you're an Xbox fan and you want to buy these games physically, your option is really just becoming PlayStation, which is just kind of funny. And then finally, we did have Ninja Gaiden 4 go for pre-order, which Xbox is handling the release for, and that does have a physical copy releasing for $70, October 21st. Cannot wait for this game. Need to play through the original trilogy first, but I love Platinum, I love Koei Tecmo, I love Team Ninja, so this is certainly a day one purchase for me. This one, once again, though, does not mention any sort of download, so hopefully Outer Worlds 2, hey, listen, sorry, Outer Worlds fans, y'all can take the L if it means that Ninja Gaiden 4 and Gears of War are on the disc. I will certainly, I'm okay with that trade-off. Ideally, they would all be on there. We also had a deluxe edition of this game for $10 more. I'm actually not sure what you get with this. Do you get it early or something? You get 50,000 bonus ninja coin. Oh my goodness. That's so goofy. And future gameplay content and in-game items. So no early access on this one, surprisingly. For early access, I might have done it for $10, but, or actually that'd be $20, never mind. So really it's a matter of if that 50,000 bonus ninja coin is worth it to you. And then similarly, the Xbox release of this is a digital game code. So the only way to get it physically is on PlayStation, which I'm happy it's happening on PlayStation at all, but also if you're an Xbox collector, which I know they do exist, that is so annoying. It's like, well, I guess I'll sell my Xbox and start collecting on PlayStation. So that is going to do it for today's physical news video. Just wanted to cover a couple of different things regarding Switch 2, Switch 1, and then, of course, these PlayStation releases. Let me know if you're planning on picking up any of the games we discussed in today's video. Of course, I do have affiliate links for the games we discussed in today's video in the description below, so if you want to support the channel that way, I would appreciate it. As always, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch and PlayStation collecting content. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Check out my Nintendo news channel at BoTalksGames. And until next time, folks, peace.